Hey, welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast, episode 230. I'm Graham. I'm here with Luke, Richie this time, and Cody. We don't have a guest this week because Luke decided to blow his Jeep up at Harlan,
It's not
and
blown up.
he says he
It's
has a lot to
shocking.
talk about. He says it's not blown up, but we'll see once we get into it. And I've been throwing tube at a Bronco, so pray for me. I hate, Broncos are just, you know how everybody knows how I feel about Broncos.
Luke went wheeling and didn't blow up a fuel pump. I don't think he actually went wheeling, guys.
It's
I'm just
been the
throwing it
second
out there.
time I've been wheeling without blowing the
I
fuel
don't
pump up.
know, guys. I think he's lying to us here.
Hey,
I don't know if I believe it.
You didn't blow a fuel pump up at Web Wheelers last year.
This
Oh,
is
fucking
true as well.
right. Holy
3.
shit. Okay, maybe the curse
4.
is lifted. And holy shit.
No, but it was running like crap before. It probably still. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. We haven't heard
It's
of
got
any
its little
troubles.
fucking.
He did not blow a fuel pump. He blew the motor. There's a difference.
Yes, this is true. The fuel pump has nothing to do with the fucking camshaft that we still can't get out of the block.
It's still stuck in there.
Yes.
Wow. Why are you even keeping it around? Just scrap that thing at this point. Get like $20 and be done with it.
That's probably what's going to end up happening to it, but hey, whatever. So to get into the Harlan stuff, I was torn between going to Golden Mountain and going to Harlan with Bronco-ish, and Logan with the Red XJ said he wasn't sure what they were doing, and this, that, the other thing. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. Bronco-ish had called me up and he was like, yeah, it's going to be a small group. Big tire rigs. We're going. I'm like, all right, fuck it. You know what? I've never been to Harlan and had a good fucking time with it. I've only been that
I was gonna say.
time. And like, fucking dude goes to Harlan 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a year. I don't fucking know how many times, but he knows the place like the back of his fucking hand at this point. So I said, fuck it. I called up Dave, that Blue Box XJ, and was like, hey, I'm going up to Harlan. Passenger seat's yours if you want it. I don't know what Logan's doing, but we're going up there. We're going wheeling. It's going to be fucking good. And so we bombed on out of there. To start the trip, the trailer wheel bearings got hot on the way home. So I put grease in them and was like, whatever. No big deal here. Everything's kosher. And the truck picked up a rock and threw it into the windshield, and its spider web cracked right in front of my face. So, I kicked out the windshield in my driveway an hour before we were going to leave. Grabbed some mechanics gloves, a razor blade, and cut the seal out of it, just so that way there wasn't just a bunch of broken glass. And we're bombing down there. I stopped to check the trailer hubs, and we're like, all right, they're fucking hot. Those got to cool off. Go to the car wash, and we vacuumed the broken glass out at the car wash. Let everything cool off, took a piss, and then got back in the truck. We made it to Harlan in 3 hours and I think it was 50 minutes with a fuel stop, filling the Jeep up and all that. So we pulled into the Everett side and met up with Bronco-ish, Ben Decker, Ryan, I forget his last name, but cool dude with he's got a red buggy on 43 SXs, red 20-inch rims, and a stock 5.3 to a 400, and I think an Atlas. Either way, the rig gets down. Cody F was there, and his wife was there, and they had 2 on the smaller side rigs. One of them was a half-ton Cherokee that's been chopped up to look like a Comanche, and it's on 40-inch traps with a 9 and a 44. The other one's this bastard YJ with an AMC 360 and a Holly Sniper, and yeah, it's just weird. So on the Everett side, you're right down by the waterfall, and like rail bed and all that stuff. So like we were literally 5 minutes away from getting your Jeep just out of there, Graham. If we would have just turned around and went to the Everett side, grabbed my F-250 and threw it on the trailer, it would have been a 5-minute drive across town, and like that's about it. So
So we went up and around the mountain for no reason.
absolutely, we were 3 minutes, 5 minutes of spirited driving away from the road exit.
That's
Dang.
beautiful.
It's great. We could have skipped the entire traumatization of Morgan. It probably could have even driven itself back over to the Putney side at that
Well, if
point.
had we gone down instead of going up, I wouldn't have blown the ring gear for, another 20 minutes.
This is true. So waterfall is a fucking bitch of an obstacle. I could not figure out where the line was, and there was a bunch of people there. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but I didn't end up making the waterfall. So anyways, yeah, to get back to it, we're in the parking lot. We all get loaded up. I got there at like 7:45. By 8, I'd eaten 2 hot dogs, loaded the cooler in the Jeep, and we were heading up the mountain. And
Are you saying that you got there at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m.?
PM?
Okay.
Yes, I was there for one night, and it was a very, very busy night.
Gotcha.
So we head up the mountain. It's 8 p.m. and we dip into Killing Time, which it was a fun little trail. Bombed right on up it. Everyone went. We got to the top. There wasn't any like remarkable obstacle there, except for there's a right side exit, and to get up the right side exit, you have to climb a 3-foot tall boulder with the passenger tire cutting hard passenger to slam the front into like a 4-foot tall V wedge thing. And just basically, if you can get your front tire up on it, you're through it, and the rig just pulls itself up. So bang limiter in there, and it went right up. Then we ran profanity, lower profanity, and upper profanity, and lower profanity following that YJ was profane experience. Not throwing shade here, but the AMC 360 is a gutless piece of shit motor, and I hate AMC motors at this fucking point. That includes the 4-liter. It's just a blanket statement of hatred. I don't have any facts or logic. This is purely emotion. But fuck them.
No, the 360 definitely can be like pretty good. I just think most of them are so fucking old nowadays that they just have such a loss of compression that the average 360 isn't anything special. Because like a buddy of mine had a fucking 360 in his 69 Cuda, and that motherfucker ripped back in the day. So just saying.
I believe it, but also like the tech's just kind of gone, and this thing's running off of a sniper setup with the Holly Wizard. So like,
Yeah, well, that means nothing because the Holly Sniper and Holly EFI in general it self-learns like maybe 2% of what it's actually capable of doing, and then you have to adjust fuel maps. You can't just let it sit. It goes for any of the EFI things. It's not self-learning to any degree, because if you just let it self-learn, it's always going to run different and never going to run right. You really do need to dial in and like watch a 20-minute YouTube video on how to do some fuel map updates and how to lock the learn parameters out and slowly lock them out more, because it starts at like 50%. The thing can just like change
adjust
fuel at any
everything on
point.
the fly.
Yeah, it can change fuel at any point on the graph by 50% every time you run the truck. Every time. So if it makes a change, I think it depends. It might be different depending on Holly or Aces or the other thing, but whatever else there is, Vitec and all the other cool kids, I guess. But either way, it adjusts by a shitload, and you'll just end up with a learn map that is literally maxed out with 50% increases in fuel, and it just won't be able to do anything. If it wants to go that far, like you need to make adjustments so it smooths itself out on top of the original map. So
I don't have the backstory on this rig, and I'm not going to throw too much shade. I'm just going to say that it was a problem child throughout the weekend, and it was also the shakedown. So, like, both of those things kind of make sense together, right?
yeah.
It was what it was. Morgan had that XJ, and that chick can fucking drive. The rig's clapped, but she can fucking drive, so it makes up for it. And it was very funny watching it do, like, because it's built to, original wheelbase spec, or it looks like almost original wheelbase spec, but it's on like 40s, and it's been bobbed and narrowed, and fucking, it's just weird looking. But the thing's light and nimble, and it just crawled. So it was cool to watch that. Anyways, we're on lower profanity, and I get up to the second to last ledge, and I had one of those, like, long wheelbases king moments, and my wheelbase is not long enough for what I was doing. I was at just the right spot to drag the rear axle tube up onto the rock and, like, have the driver rear tire not fucking touch anything while the front's trying to climb up this muddy, like, ledge onto a boulder. And so I ended up pulling cable after sitting there and beating on it. I looked over at Dave as I'm like clutch dumping it in third, and he just kind of like gave me the "this ain't fucking happening, boss." So we just pulled fucking cable. Upper profanity was a good fucking time. It's a really simple trail. The exit out of it's a ton of fun. And it's got like just a couple of big rock piles that you kind of thunk your way over. And wheeling with Logan in that group, it was every trail we would stop after we got done with that particular section of trail. So like every 30, 40 minutes, we'd hop out for like 10 minutes, have a cigarette, grab a beer. And so we're slowly creeping up in time into the night, and I managed to, on upper profanity, have a massive skill issue. I high centered the Jeep on both axle tubes at once in the dirt, trying to run through the ruts, and it was very funny watching the fucking 1-ton rig sit there grabbing second, third, just flinging stuff everywhere and not being able to help itself. So we ended up having to call Logan, who came back down the trail and just backed into my rig until it was like out of the ruts. And like
Okay.
little bit of overgrown bumper cars, but what the fuck is it gonna hurt? The Stinger or the front bumper that's like very clearly tweaked into oblivion now, so none of it matters. So we ran that into Tombstone because we were heading up towards Lion's Den. And we got up into Tombstone, and Ben, who was in a 1-ton JK with his dad, I think it's his dad's rig, his dad ended up whacking his head pretty good against the door, like windowsill area, and like gave himself a concussion. So they ended up turning back there. It was Cody, Ryan, myself, and Logan, with Logan leading. And we went into Tombstone. And Tombstone's not like a remarkable trail, but it's just this big random boulders are kind of placed around, and you have to just kind of work your way up. It's a very like relaxed big ledge trail, if that makes sense. I'm trying to think of a comparable. Graham, the ledges at Battlegrounds?
Mm-hmm.
It's like multiple of those just randomly spaced as you're going up the trail.
Oh, okay.
So you're just bebopping up these ledges, and it was a killer time. But but we were on the way out of there, and the YJ throws the rear drive shaft. And when I say throws the rear drive shaft, I'm pretty sure it was a slip yoke eliminated single U-joint on both sides with a slip joint in the center, and it just removed itself from the vehicle without breaking the U-joints. It snapped U-bolts clean out on both sides at the transfer case and at the axle side, so I'm wondering if it was out of phase or something like that, and doing the leaf spring bump that they do, it just wrapped up and wadded itself out of the vehicle. But his Jeep went flying backwards down the hill. I was already up past that point, so I'm listening over the radio because Logan's sitting next to me, and Ryan goes, "Yeah, he said the rig was making a weird fucking noise. I don't know what the fuck that means. But... And then we found a drive shaft laying 10 feet up the trail. So I'm going to guess that's his. We're going to end up probably having to pull him up here." So he goes and he starts to pull him up Damnation with one of those Bubba ropes. Or not Damnation, Tombstone. And we ended up splitting ways with him because we made it to the top at there's a trail, like there's 6 trailheads or 5 trailheads that meet up, and it's called Malfunction Junction. It's how you get to Mason Jar and how you get to Lion's Den. It's like, I'm gonna say 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're sitting there enjoying a Marbread and discussing whether we want to go and hit Mason Jar at 1 in the morning, or we want to go and drop into Lion's Den. We decided upon Lion's Den. The fucking rock pile that is the entrance to Lion's Den is a good fucking time. Like, AOP's got a lot of stuff where it's big, stupid ledges or like spots that you have to bump up. This is like one of those things where it's probably 8 or 9 different boulders that form this ledge, and you have to just kind of individually pick where you're putting the tire and crawl into it. So the entrance into Lion's Den was far more technical than doing Lion's Den itself. Logan took the far left line, and on the far left line, you kind of have to like crawl the rig up, get it so that way it's sitting a little bit on the driver's side down, and then like he does the whole cutting brakes, disengage the rear, drag the nose in, and that didn't really do the thing for him that well, so he just kind of like blunderfucked his way through it in a very unmajestic way of smashing diff into everything in 4-foot tall boulders. It was...
Is this before or after the drop-in?
This is before the drop-in. This is getting to the drop-in. And so I watch him go through. Ryan's behind me. Cody's supposed to be going down the mountain. This comes back later, but we're not there yet. So we get to actual Lion's Den proper, and getting into Lion's Den, I was watching Bronco-ish, like, taillights, and he's just driving along on a flat section, because I want to say it's like maybe 60 or 70 feet between where you come off of the rock pile and the actual drop-in. So I wasn't sure where the actual drop-in is. And all of a sudden, all I can see is just his rock lights, and he, like, thuds his way down that big-ass drop-off into Lion's Den. And so I'm looking at the wall, and if you look at the wall in Lion's Den, there's a spot where, like, you can just see that people have been dragging their cage down, and I'm like, alright, well, if everyone else has hit their cage there, there's probably a fucking reason for it. And so I just cut the steering wheel a little bit over to the passenger side, and I leaned up against the wall there and just dropped right the fuck in. And you go from the big-ass spotlights just going out into nothing to staring at the ground very, very fucking quickly when you drop into that bitch. It's like a I'm going to say maybe like a 6 foot tall drop or so. Maybe it's a little taller than that. I don't know. I was there at night. It's fucking late and
it's a big drop. No matter which way you cut it, it's a big drop.
Yes. So I'm watching Logan go through there, and like, if you put the driver's tire too far to the driver's side, you just end up falling off into, like, I'm gonna call it the pit of despair. It's that area that you see everyone always get fucked up in, right next to the fallen over tree. I was like, sorry, Dave, nothing personal here, but we're going to get close to that tree. So I just drove the driver's side of the rig up against that tree that everyone goes up, and that allowed me to cheat and get the nose to kind of Z into the actual exit. Quick tap of the old rev limiter to throw the mud off of the tires, and it just crawled right out. So it was almost a perfect one shot, other than having to clean off that one tire. I was in and out of Lion's Den in about 5 minutes, but I completely pushed the entire driver's side of, or passenger side of the rig, I'm sorry, into itself. It split the connection at the B pillar where the roof, the wraparound from the windowsill like shit is. All of that is just spiderweb cracked out, and there's now a nice like half-inch hole where it just has torn itself apart and shoved the tube into it so far that it's meant. It makes a really cool popping noise when you lean the cage over now, and it hits that because the sheet metal like has to kind of, refigure out how to crush again. And it's a big fucking park. So we got out of Lion's Den and we were bombing on our way back to camp. You can just grab 5th gear in there in my rig and cruise in 5th gear down the main trail. It's massive, wide open, and it got fucking cold with no goddamn windshield.
Oh, I
But
believe it.
I can live with it, and the benefits of not having the windshield far outweigh having a windshield at this point.
Are you suggesting, Luke, that it's kind of advantageous to be able to see?
Yes, you can see. And then when you're beating on the rig and like the engine starts to get hot, it doesn't randomly defog in one spot and fog the other spot even worse. Yeah, it's good. It's a good time.
Wild.
I fucking got hit in the face with so much fucking shit that I'm gonna buy a set of goggles. Like the MX goggles at this fucking point. It was astounding. I ended up like pulling a piece of I think it was like one of the laurels or something out of the corner of my eye, so like chunk of leaf and all. That wasn't ideal, but that's a simple fix. So now where was I? All right, yeah. So you come on out of Lion's Den, and we were about ready to head back, and Logan's phone goes off, and it's Cody, and he's like, "Yeah, I followed your directions, but it turns out I can't read a map." I'm like, "Oh boy." So
Well,
Dave and I,
shit.
huh?
I said, well, shit, that's a start to a problem.
Oh, it was a start to a problem. So Dave and I looked at each other, and we're running off of hot dogs, gas station snackies, and some Red Bull, a little bit of Coors, and some White Monster. We're like, yeah, it sounds like it's time for a beer and a cigarette. So we're just sitting on the roof of the Jeep while everyone's checking over stuff. Ryan had low oil pressure coming into the drop off and out of the drop off, so he goes and he checks his rig and he's low. So like we ended up dumping I think it was like a quart and a half of oil and like half a quart of ATF. I'm not sure about the ATF, but I saw multiple bottles going into the rig, and he was doing all right. And we're trying to figure out where Cody is. So he drops a pin on the map, and he's at this place called Stadium. Stadium is like a fucking L shape away from where you are supposed to be to get out of there. And he went down a path that had been cut, I think, to get to the stream or something down there. And I think it was cut by the county, not by the actual, like, or for an actual trail. So it's this narrow fucking goat path. And we're going down this goat path trying to find him after we ran probably a good 15-20 minutes across the park to then find the entrance to this goat path that he had hiked up. And his rig is turned around at the bottom of the goat path, but there's nowhere to turn around the rest of our rigs. So we had to back up this goat path for like 200 feet. And I had accidentally turned the rock lights off, so I'm just using the big spotlights to, see where I'm going and the reverse light. By the time that I was done making the 8-point turn, I realized the rock lights are off. I kick the rock light on, and the rock light goes down the side of the hill that I just turned around on into nothing. So that felt really fucking scary and sketchy, just like, because I was backing the rig up, getting the driver's side dropped down a bit and the passenger side way in the air as I'm trying to like swing the nose around in this little cubby like clearing that wasn't big enough for the job. And we ended up dragging him out, and we started making our way back down to camp at this point, and at this point it's like 3:45 in the morning. Well, Bronco-ish decides that the C6 is just not going to behave itself, and his rig decided to shit the pump or something along those lines. So we're dragging this YJ out of the woods. He's in the front. Ryan's connected to the YJ, and I'm in the middle, and just like dead on the side of the trail. So we dumped enough ATF in there until it was able to kind of get forward momentum again, and he made it maybe the 40 minutes or so of the hour and a half ride out of where we were with everything that was going on. And then it shit the bed, so we had to take the YJ off of the back of Ryan's rig, connect Bronco-ish's rig to it, and drag him out because he knew the rest of the way out. And the YJ kind of teetered along behind me as we raced down the green. And I think we made it back into camp at like 5:30, 5:45 in the morning. The sun was just starting to peek up over the mountains. And we had left with 7 rigs and returned with 2 running rigs. It was a good fucking time, dude. I'm gonna spend a shit ton more time at Harlan now that I know that that's the play.
Yeah, that seems way simpler and just less stressful.
Yeah, and
that's exactly what I was gonna say. Sounds like, just the adventure in and out made it 90 times more fun.
Dude, it was one of those wheeling experiences where like, yeah, shit kept going sideways or randomly getting fucked up, but it just added to the experience. If it hadn't have been for some of the issues, like we were about ready to leave upper profanity, and there was a razor that like was coming up the trail because Harlan's a fucking razor park, and just got high centered and came up, and he's like, "Hey, anyone here got a good winch?" And I knew better, so I just kind of casually clicked the music up on my phone.
Oh yeah, those questions can turn into nightmares real quick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Especially at Harlan.
Especially with those people.
It gets better.
No, I just
Oh.
at Harlan specifically. I've never waited around more because the trail's completely clogged than the couple times at that park where we had to wait.
Okay, so that's the other part about it that's cool though. The Everett side, like the majority of the stuff's got like random go arounds. So if you're with someone that knows where they're going, you can just cut out all of the fucking traffic because like our rigs ain't buggies. But fuck, can we pretend sometimes? So they're not going to be out there banging rocks on, like the blacks and the reds. So if we can just go bomb up a rock, for example, or rock trail, Graham and myself, we can just bypass it. It just sucks for the smaller tire guys because you can't go and do that. But that park is big. It's got a lot of fucking cool shit. I was wheeling for, I think, almost 11 hours, or not 11 hours, like 9.5 hours, 10 hours, and we were just going. And I only hit a couple of interesting, like Tombstone's one of the trails that I've heard talked about, and like Lion's Den. That wasn't even making it up to Middle Rock Garden. I think we did a trail called Fly Trap, which is like their trail rating system's fucking weird. So they've got two different rating systems. So they have red side by side, orange side by side, blue side by side ATV, and green. And then they have the same stuff for trucks as well. So Fly Trap is a red, but I think it's a side-by-side red because the only thing that was remotely cool on it was the top section where it's like just this, triple stacked 2-foot ledges that you kind of come up, which I imagine in a side-by-side would be fucking sketchy, but in Barry or the Gar, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it didn't even notice or give a fuck. It was just idling. And yeah, we got to get back there at some point in time because it's a good fucking spot if you're on the right side. But with the size of the park and Putney being where Putney is located, the only close thing to it is like Upper Rock Garden, or is it Middle Rock Garden that we went to?
You asking me?
Again?
Yeah, I was asking you.
If you went to Middle Rock Garden or Upper Rock?
No, when we were there on the Putney side of the
I
park.
don't know. We were in some rock garden and I blew my shit up. Upper, lower, middle, I don't know.
You broke on the night ride in Lower Rock Garden, which, by the way, is fucking kind of sad where you broke.
Yeah. I don't wanna hear it.
That was a bebop. It was also decided amongst the people that were there that my rig either works on idle or it works on rev limiter. It does not work anywhere in between. So that was fun.
Sounds like a good ass time. I'm definitely excited to try it out one day.
It's worth trying out one day.
Especially after now hearing that you don't have to go through the fucking crazy steep side to go and enjoy the park. That definitely makes it where it's like, sweet.
The crazy steep side isn't bad, except for when it's super wet out. Then it's really bad.
So
then
when
it's
it
bad.
rains down south, where it rains pretty often.
Yeah. Yeah, the Everett side is cool because it's a pick your own adventure. You just kind of like, okay, cool. These all kind of connect. We'll just meet up at Malfunction Junction, take whatever fucking trail your rig's good enough for, and go. And the Mickey Thompson versus SX debate continues to rage on between Logan and myself, and there is no clear winner at that park. It seems like if you've got stickies, you're in for a good time. If you don't have stickies, it's not a good time. Although Treps were working there, and I've never seen Treps work well like they were that particular weekend any other park.
Wait, so when was there even a debate between the SXs and like I feel like that's kind of a pretty easy debate if we go and pool the whole, wheeling as a whole and ask them, I feel like it'd be a pretty clear answer.
It was
Don't
more
get me
so
wrong.
one of those things where it was like fucking Logan and I shouting insults back and forth as we were going up the trail because there were spots where I would just come through and the rig would absolutely fucking walk on a 40 that the 43s were having a shit time on, and then vice versa. And it was like 50-50, so I was giving everyone fucking hell. It wasn't like there's a long running debate about it. It was just that particular night and me having to give Logan shit.
Gotcha. I understand. I thought you were saying there's like an actual debate.
No, there's no actual debate about it. They're just different fucking tires that do different fucking things. Uh, SX is like better in the clay. It's got a slightly better sidewall. It doesn't hug the rocks the way that the Mickeys do. Crawlers are better in the rocks. Mickeys are better at speed than SXs. It's all just fucking give and take. Like, my rig was very happy bombing around Harlan. Except for the spots where you get into like the fucking random 1 foot, 2 foot fucking divots in the road. Those fucking hurt still.
Maybe if you got bump stops, like proper bump stops, it would help.
Yeah, well, like, I know we've talked about it before. I'm just out there wheeling at this point. I don't really. I know that the rig needs air bumps on all 4 fucking corners. I don't really care that much because it's currently like on its 3rd or 4th trip, where the 3rd trip now, where the only issue I had was blowing an axle shaft and like I broke a drive shaft at Harlan, and it's not even like royally exploded, but like you can watch it twisting inside of the spline section, and it's shooting the plastic liner out of both ends, so I know it's about to blow the spline section up. So just go swap that out with one of the spares I have in the truck. If I have to, I'll cut off the spline section of another shaft and slap it on to another hack shaft and forget it exists. But after that trip and the meet and beat, I'm really more focused on just going and abusing it. I don't care that I wadded it up. I don't care that it's like ugly as shit. I just care that I'm out and about having a good fucking time.
No, that's all that matters, truly, man. Like it's get out there, go have fun, and just fucking enjoy it rather than just kind of trying to chase better all the time. There's no fucking need. I was just more when I was referencing the bump stops, was just referencing the fact that you're saying the 2 foot bumps, which
Oh
even
yeah.
with air bumps, you're still gonna feel.
Oh yeah. And like the Reagan 5th, we were booking at a couple of spots at like 25 miles an hour to just come around the corner and hit that. It's like, oh, well, I fucking hit a speed bump at 25. No matter what you're in, it's not going to feel super pleasant.
Well, that's what your oil pan is for, Luke. Catch the axle.
That oil pan's unfortunately going to scrap. The new oil pan was in better shape, so the new engine has a almost straight oil pan.
You mean flat? Straight? I feel like is an odd word for it, but yeah, I know what you mean.
What I mean is like the bottom is still straight. It's not pushed up around the tube anymore. Because the old oil pan was like, it had been in that accident in the Jeep it was originally in, and then over the years it had been flattened out and like the bolt had been shoved back. So, to get the bolt out of it, it wasn't at like the proper angle anymore. So it would just spray oil all over the place. Now it's like almost a happy oil pan for now. It'll get fucked up later, but we'll deal with that later.
It will self-clearance later, Luke. You gotta use the fancy terminology.
Yes, like I've hit the point where the unibody is self-clearancing itself around the roll cage, and I'm okay with it.
Exactly.
Speaking of, bud, where you been? What the fuck happened?
I got told on a Friday a couple weeks ago that Monday I was starting nights, so I'm like, fucking cool. No heads up. And yeah, I hate doing the 12s overnight. It fucks me up for so long.
12's overnight's fucking brutal.
Yeah,
I've had to
very
do a
much.
couple of them, and they're not fun.
And normally my boss is pretty good. Like he normally gives me like a solid couple week heads up, but for whatever fucking reason, it was like Friday at 4 o'clock. He fucking told me.
Fuck that. So we have, we've got to throw some shade here. When we last talked, you had gotten a bunch of the cooling system parts. Are there more cooling system parts going in the motherfucker? Is there anything left to
Okay.
buy? Like, come on, man. Where's
Okay.
the rig?
So I got all the parts in. All the parts have come in by now, and it is mostly back together. I just have to make a mount for the coolant reservoir bottle, and then I have to I had a page. I lost the
Do you
page.
want me to just send you the mount?
If you have one, sure, that'd be cool.
I've got a 96 XJ that I'm stripping. I don't know if the mount's the same, but like it's
The
junk as
reservoir
it is.
bottle on the newer styles is on the oh man, what the hell do you call that? The fuse panel.
Well, so
Yeah, that's the older styles as well.
a
Okay, so it's the
96
same.
the 96 reservoir mount should work just fine. For me, I believe the newer body style, the mount is shaped a little differently.
Yep, it is, because I have a 96 coolant bottle zip tied to my cage shit that I have going on up there and the fucking AC compressor housing. So
Yeah.
it needs a bottle, but like I don't care if I have to go remove the mount from the vehicle.
I have a bottle. I was just gonna fucking cut up the old holding tank mount and make something to hold the bottle. But if I could get a mount, that'd be even better.
It's
But I just have to I have to mount the bottle and then figure out the not the wiring, the routing for the new coolant lines going from the um what's it called, heater core and everything into the system, because the closed loop system has a couple of T's that are now no longer needed. So I just have to I gotta find the diagram that I found
Would you like me
before.
to just take a picture of how I have them ran? You should be able to get away with running a new body style water pump exit and then a new body style thermostat for the two lines and just have two lines in there with no T's.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll go fucking pull the hood off the XJ tomorrow.
Fucking sweet. Because other than that, I just have to cut a small notch out of my radiator support to clear my radiator cap. That's it.
Makes sense. On my rig, I've been on the note of the hood. I have to go trim that thing way down because I realized that like with how far back the seat is, you're just looking down the hood, but thanks to the spreader bar that's inside of there, the hood's now like sitting up from where it's supposed to be. So if I wanted to get it to sit right, it needs to be cut to fit down inside of the tube. So
I
I'm gonna
did notice that.
I'm gonna have to fix that because I just don't. I want a little bit of extra visibility, and it sounds stupid to say, but like the extra inch and a half that I would get from just dropping the hood down, it's gonna help a fuck ton.
Hey, I know a few people that says that an inch matters a lot.
They're liars, Richie. Don't listen to them. They're
Shut the fuck up. My wife does not lie to me.
But I'm super happy to hear that that thing's actually getting closer because I just want to see the boys fucking wheeling again. Same thing goes for you,
Yeah,
Cody.
I
Yeah, I'm
would have
glad,
had
man.
it done a couple weeks ago, but I'll tell you what, it is really hard to get the ambition to go out back to fucking work on the thing in the middle of the fucking night when I gotta fire up a generator and shit. I'd rather sit in my living room and watch TV. I'll be
I-
That's
honest.
valid, man. That's pretty valid.
I completely and utterly understand because, like, one of the stupid little fucking things with my rig that I have to go and unfuck is I need to go and figure out how to get lighting to the fucking gauge cluster because I don't have gauge cluster lighting anymore. Something in there has not, it's not happy with itself. I think it has to do with the fact that the turn signal module is not connected. Um,
Huh?
but
Is that where it pulls power from?
I don't know. I know it popped a fuse real fucking quick, so I was gonna look at the schematic and just figure out where the cluster pulls power from for running just the cluster lights. I
Just
don't
the
give a
cluster?
fuck.
You lost
Yeah,
do you lost the whole dash? Like
whole dash doesn't light
illumination
up
circuit?
anymore.
Hmm.
And
But if I can
honestly
just,
fucking swap the cluster and see if that
I
changes.
mean, I would think it's either a fuse and you've got a lot of other random stuff not working
I've got a
that you
lot
might
of
not
other.
have, so
Yeah,
I guess
that's the
that's
problem. It's the amount of shit
um
that I don't have anymore is wigging the harness out. So my thought was, if I'm gonna be doing all of this, I'll just fucking run a low power circuit like off of my rock lights to the cluster, so that way when I hit the rock lights, my cluster lights up. I don't really give a shit if the fucking rear brake lights don't work and turn signals don't work anymore. The when I hit the brake pedal, the brakes light up, so like that's good enough. And
Good start.
yeah, I mean it's either a fuse or for your or for your dash, or it would be your probably sounds stupid, but I would think maybe your headlight switch. Maybe there's
it's
something
totally
shorting out.
possible.
Oh, yeah, that the
Because that's how
sensor,
that
like
the
the
dimmer for
headlights.
that's through there, and if you get that, I'm sure if you smash that thing up and drive it through enough puddles, which I know firsthand that it has, it could probably be a little crunchy.
Everything in there is a little crunchy. That's why I want to just get the fucking or isolate the circuit that lights up behind the dash and just run that
Yeah.
off of the rock light circuit because like I don't fucking care anymore. Um, my rock lights run off of a 5 amp circuit, so I'd imagine that'd be perfectly fine to run a couple of LED bulbs in the cluster too.
Mhm.
You could do it like the old Volkswagen thing where they used to run like little tiny lights and put it right over, like right behind the steering wheel, and point it at the dashboard. You know, so you could actually
That would
see
be
it.
funny as fuck too.
That is a thing that Volkswagen guys do.
Well, so the rig's running coal. It's like it barely got up to temperature. The only thing I broke was I broke the fucking E-fan mount, like where it slots down into the actual radiator itself. That plastic tab broke off, so I'm just gonna go under there, pop
The
a hole
tab
with
that
a
always breaks.
yeah, just pop a hole, you know, zip tie the motherfucker in place and forget about it. And then but I couldn't see where the oil pressure was. I couldn't see where the tachometer was. So like some of that shit got annoying and we left so quickly after getting there that I was shocked that we had tools, a cooler, and snacks. Like the bare minimum, and I remembered a hoodie. So that's how quickly we left the campsite and headed up the mountain. there was no forethought about the fact that I was going to need gauge lights. So I didn't bring a little headlamp to do like what you
I
were
mean,
talking
realistically,
about.
why do you need those lights? What are they
Yeah, what do
telling
you-
you?
You just
Uh,
shift when it hits rev limiter
Yeah,
anyway. So
you don't
what-
care if it's got anything as long
Yeah,
as
but
you
it
have.
lets you know if you're overheating and shit
He
too.
doesn't care
Oh,
about
red
that.
light
Let's be
turned on.
honest.
He most definitely cares. We had to stop
No.
multiple times at AOP just so he could check.
Yep.
Oh well, it doesn't matter. If it's boiling over, you'll know because it'll be puffing out the hood.
Hmm.
You'll see that in the dark.
It
If you don't have
was remarkably well behaved. It didn't get over 200 degrees. That like welded E-fan does not let it get hot when you're beating on it. And everywhere that I went was either beating on it or just slow crawling. There was no like
So you could have fixed
2000
it with a $50 clutch fan and called it a day. Tell me you've been overheating all these years because you didn't change the fucking clutch fan.
I'm
You
not
cheap
gonna
fuck.
say it was because of the clutch fan. It's had multiple different clutch fans on there. The last motor had a new clutch fan. I didn't check this motor when I put it in, so it's now just welded solid.
Oh, that's fair.
It
So I did to the
it's
J20. I didn't weld it, but I used like one of those shitty Flexolite fans from the part store.
Those mechanical fans are so noisy under like fucking
Oh, yes.
low speed. It's just like, vroom, vroom. Like that shit
and
gets
you
so
know how I drive too, so like I can be coming up something in first gear and it'll just be sat at 4,000 RPM, so the fan's fucking screaming.
Yep.
But it'll sit on rev limiter and you can watch the temperature fucking gauge go down. So I'm not gonna complain about that.
Fan move faster, push more air. That's how that works.
Yes. Revolutionary.
Is that how that
Shocking.
works?
It's amazing how aerodynamics work.
But
I don't even think that's aerodynamics. I think it's
I
just
think it is.
Well,
fluid
the
dynamics.
the
Like,
fan
like,
is
like-
moving air, so yes.
Aero. Isn't that aeroplanes though? I don't
Which
see how
is
fans have anything
fucking
to do with
air, you retard.
No, but it's about planes in the air, not about fans
Aero-
pushing air.
Aerodynamics, Graham,
Cows
No.
have
is the
aerodynamics,
science of air moving.
moving. Yeah, like
It's
Graham,
not
you're being obtuse here.
airplanes.
I want a definition right now. I want a definition posted.
Googling. Give me a second.
Thank you, Cody, because Graham's just gonna be obtuse.
Probably. He's big dumb.
Possibly even on the loose. So the biggest kick in the balls in this entire thing, though, is like, I'm sitting here talking with Morgan about how good of a fucking time I had, and she's like, "Oh, cool. Get one of those like unfoldable tents like Logan has, and I'll go with you to Harlan again." And I'm like, deep
Does she want to
breath.
ride in my Jeep?
No.
Excuse me. Aerodynamics is the study of the properties of moving air and the interaction between the air and solid bodies moving through it. So
I'll give you a
fuck you,
fucking
Graham.
solid
Hold on,
body.
actually, so while aerodynamic plays a role in the design of fan blades, the overall topic would not be considered aerodynamics, but more as airflow engineering. So guess what?
Yeah, get
Fuck you,
fucked.
Richie.
Wouldn't there also be some thermal dynamics in there as well?
Okay, so what we have concluded here on the off-road podcast is there's a lot of different dynamics going into this.
Fans
Yes.
are more than just aerodynamics. They're actually not even remotely related. It's a completely different subject.
But do they play into thermal dynamics now? Because this is getting important here.
I mean, I'm sure there is some
You're-
thermodynamics, fluid dynamics.
I'm sure that aero engineering plays a role into thermodynamics down the line. Yeah.
I mean, because thermodynamics is like pretty integral for like turbos and shit. So I'd
Yeah.
say there's probably some connection.
So on the note of turbos,
Herbskis?
Turbskis, yeah. This
Oh.
4-liter is really happy. I should do the
Okay.
most inhumane thing possible to it and just run a fucking hater pipe side dump out the side.
No,
Yeah.
just
No,
150 shot of
not NA.
nitrous.
No, not NA though. Please don't. That would be so fucking loud. Do you remember what's his
No,
name
with a
there?
turbo.
Oh, do it. That'd be sick. 100% do it. I'm fucking
It's
rowdy.
gonna absolutely massacre that fucking
Wait, so the
4-liter.
guy, hold on. So the guy who was just arguing 20 seconds ago about bump stops is now gonna say, "Oh, just wheel it, have fun with it, turbo." Huh?
I'm not
What?
actually going to fucking turbo it. If you think that I'm
Oh,
gonna put
Turbo.
that much fucking time into it, you're fucking crazy.
No, just give it a nitrous shot and call it a day. If you really need to go faster,
Yeah.
just do that. You already don't care
Come
about
on,
the
Cody.
motors.
We all know that Luke has a plan for an LS or fucking some other fucking wacky motor that's never gonna happen. So, come on.
I constantly fall into the trap of just fucking putting it back together because there's some event that I want to go to. So I've decided that if I make that the lifestyle of just trying to go to the events and let the parts collect on the side, then the parts can collect on the side. Whatever comes my way is whatever comes my way. I have a spare transmission. It's waiting for me to go and buy a bell housing, and like an LS, but I just have a spare transmission that currently works for the 4-liter. I may be buying a fucking YJ, so I don't know what the plan with that's going to be, but it's a 4-liter AX15 YJ. It's like
those came with
1,200
4
bucks.
liters?
Yeah.
I thought those all came with the
It's a
4.2.
94.
No, the newer YJs came with 4.0s.
No
Yeah,
shit,
it's
I
a
didn't know that.
94.
What year? Do you know what year they kind of stopped doing the 4.2s?
91.
No shit. I had no idea. That's actually really cool.
I
Never
didn't
knew
either
that.
Yep.
for the longest time,
Yeah.
so I don't blame you. I thought they all were carbureted 4.2s.
And like 91s can also kind of have the 4.2 because I've seen a couple of them posted as 91 with the 4.2, but I've also seen them with the 4.0, so
It was
that was
probably the split year.
yeah, that was a split year. I think it was like the 91 and a half's got the 4 liters. But long story short, it's a 94. It's clapped. It's fucking terrible. I kind of want the tub, but I kind of don't have any plans for it. So it's probably just going to get stripped and the 4-liter and AX15 sacrificed to the GAR as a little tasty morsel for next season's wheeling when it blows this 4-liter out of it.
You should stroke that one.
Absolutely the fuck not.
Okay. That was worth the shot.
If I'm going to do anything retarded, it's gonna be something with an 8-cylinder, or I'm probably going to lose cylinders and go diesel. Even though
I
that's going
was
to be
just gonna say
equally as
diesel.
terrible.
Interesting. Okay.
No diesel,
One-
that's
Lose
stupid.
one cylinder or lose multiple cylinders?
I don't
Losing
fucking
one
know.
would be pretty cool. I think
One would
losing-
be cool. But you know, there's something to be said about the fucking TDI swaps as well. But they're fucking retardedly expensive, and it all just comes back to the LS is the smart fucking play, realistically. But it's. Go ahead, Richie.
Did he say
Speaking
beats?
of diesels, did you
Oh.
guys know that the Comanches came factory with a diesel option?
They
What?
did. It was like the 2.1, and it was for the European market. If I remember correctly, it's a piece of shit Renault motor.
Yes. Everyone I've read has nothing but bad things to say about it. But I did not know that the Comanches came with a diesel option until I started buying parts for the Comanche off of Rock Auto, and there was a diesel option.
You know
Liberties
what
had a
I kind
diesel
of am
option as well.
curious about?
Mm.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The Liberties had a diesel option as well. I don't
That's
know
what
if
I
it
was
reached
just
it.
about to fucking bring up.
Yeah. I think it's a V6. Hold on.
Yeah, it's
A
like a little
V6
6-cylinder.
diesel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know they had a V6 gasser. I guess a V6
no,
diesel
they did.
on that one.
Hold on.
Not
no,
like a
take-
4-cylinder
rewind
diesel. I would think
forward,
that would
give me
make
one
more
second.
sense.
Yeah, but I remember there was like some weird, like.
Yeah, it's like a
Am I-
VW motor, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's something funky. Let me do some research before I spew nonsense. But I could have swore it was like an odd because it's a 2.8. I'm reading that just right off the rip, but I'm not seeing anything. Good for moderate off-road trail use. That's funny that that's what popped up first.
Moderate. How do you determine what trail an engine is worth bringing on?
If
Moderate
your
off-road trail
Honda SUV can do it, it's moderate use.
No, the engine though. They're saying the
But
engine is
torque
for
motor.
moderate trail use.
Oh, it was
Moderate
a
off-road
turbo
trail
diesel.
use.
It wasn't even just.
I said what I
Interesting.
said, Graham.
I said what I said. This would be kind of cool. I wonder if it would bolt up to like an AX15.
What?
Yeah,
This
I'm looking at it
4-cylinder,
myself.
the 2.8 diesel. Well, because like, okay, now hear me out. If we're gonna start talking about weird diesel engines, something that's still super fucking unique to
Oh,
me.
it's a VM Mittori engine, and it
What the
fucking
fuck is that?
it's Italian.
Ew. So it's
And that's what they're
useless.
offering in the fucking 2.8s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Or not 2.8s, I'm sorry, the fucking new Eco Diesels is like an updated version of it, I believe, by the same
Oh no.
firm.
So it's probably hacked
Yeah.
garbage.
It only makes 150 horsepower though, so at that point it's like, well, what the fuck's the TDI make?
Less than 100. It's 89, I think. Stock. Is that
Let's
like
see.
260 something torque?
2006
2006.
VW. Yeah.
No, you don't want a 2006. Those had major head issues. Because that'd be your
2001?
yeah, like go like 99 to 01 would be like your Mark IV range, which are like the sought after TDIs. But then if you go into like Mark V range, those had major fucking issues. They were known for like splitting heads and having just horrific issues. You end up having
90
to,
horsepower, great. So this is like a
yeah.
significant fucking drop on everything. Yeah, that
Except for
tracks.
But what's the torque values, though?
150, so it's still making less fucking torque ponies than a fucking 4-liter.
let me tell you though, based off of a little white V dub that was pushing 30 psi, you get those things turned up, they're fucking chooching. Like
Oh, yeah.
they move.
Fucking it. All diesels, just you give them a little fucking little extra fuel and a little extra air, and suddenly they
And a
fucking
little
get a
extra
lot
head stud.
rowdier. Hey,
Nitrous.
hey, you make fun of the head studs and all that, but it's fucking nice not having to worry about the fucking wastegate setting on the turbo. What is it? Fucking yes.
Boost creep, yeah. Boost creep to the max.
I don't give a fuck.
Um,
The light starts flashing on the dash at 38 psi, so that's how I know it's hit 38 psi.
I will say, when you get to a certain point, you do end up having to punch a hole into the radiator, or pardon me, the coolant tank, because it'll start just over boosting and pushing it through the coolant reservoir, and then you have to, let it go somewhere. So if you pop a hole, it just allows all of it to escape. It's great. And then the boost pressure keeps all the temperature, from overheating, right? Because then, pressurized coolant. It's sick. Bad idea. It costs a lot of money to do anything with like a Volkswagen diesel
Yeah,
engine.
let's see. What's the
But
OM617, right?
No,
yeah,
you
that's
don't want
why that's
that
a
one.
phenomenal option. It does take a little bit more of a headache to do after speaking with what's his name there with the YJ, and he's selling it. Healer, Andy, right?
Yep.
Andy Healer. Is it Healer? I forget
Yep.
his last name.
Heller
Yeah.
Healer, something like that.
After speaking with him, I remember him mentioning that there was some weird things that you do have to bring it to a machine shop to get it to be happy, or you have to like do a weird converter and a weird bell housing to then like it's a whole thing.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be the case with any like oddball motor that doesn't just magically bolt up to a normal, I say normal, but a Jeep transmission, I guess. If you're
I
putting it in a
think
Jeep.
that like an OM606 would probably be one of the smarter swaps.
I'm not too sure once you
I
start.
don't
The
know
looking
enough
reason I
about
bring
them.
up the 606 is it makes 175 horsepower in the 96 to 01 bracket, and they make 250 foot-pounds of torque. So, like, it's actually out of the box, it is a minor upgrade on a 4-liter. It is not a massive upgrade on a 4-liter, but that's before you go start, giving it some fuel, giving it some boost, giving it some head studs. And they start getting rowdier.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
if you're gonna do anything with a Volkswagen engine, if you wanted to have fun with it, doing like a VR6 swap would
Oh,
definitely be
VR6
the
would
move.
probably be the oddball way.
It'd be so fucking cool because those things, if you do head studs, you can make stupid power, and then if you boost it on top of it, then it sounds crazy, and it has gnarly power. Like those things are where it's at, but they are fucking weird. I don't know if you guys have ever looked into those. They're offset inline, so they're
Yep.
not actually a V, but it's like a singular block, and
Yep.
it's run off this like a singular cam, but they're just offset. It's fucking weird. It's
Yeah,
really
it's
weird.
like a fucking very low degree V.
Hmm.
Yeah, the biggest thing though is like you end up looking at what everyone's running that works, and it always just ends up coming back to the fucking LS. And
Yeah, but that's lame.
then I end up realizing that I have another wheeling trip I'm trying to go on, and that's the way it be. So
So speaking of weird shit, let's talk about the fucking Bronco project. What's going on with that?
So the Bronco pulled her in. Um, just it's already been like cut. All the old tubes been cut off. Sort of prepped. All the seats are out. It's on little baby tires. It looks so sad.
You should send us a picture.
I'm sure I can send you a picture. I think I have some on my phone of like some of the partial cage work too. I don't know. It's been pretty straightforward. We haven't had a ton of time to work on it. Just because it's like, a couple hours,
When you both are
probably
free?
3 nights of the week, and then weekends, and we got like usually pick like one weekend day to work on it, and I mean, we've been working on it for maybe, I guess technically, no, like a week and a half at this point right now. So, I'd say we're doing pretty good, all things considered. Without a ton of hours in there, we have all the A pillar. It's a continuous A. It's a continuous A that goes back and kind of tucks in behind the bed by the tailgate. There's a bar that shoots between the two like edges of the bed. It pokes out of the bed. There's hole sawed through the whole thing for this cross tube. It's also got supports to continue the continuous A down to the frame by the bumper supports on the frame. I'm trying to think what else we have like done here. I've got like part of the B pillar area done. He wanted to have external tubes, so like think Sean's rig where he's got it's external with an external like slider bar.
Yeah.
He likes that, and he wants to kind of protect the door like B pillar area so it doesn't get smushed. I can't guarantee that's going to happen, but we can put a tube on the outside so it might suggest rocks and trees don't go in there. Well, he's just tired of pulling the body out every time he smashes it. Like the door just won't open, or it'll just have problems. So put a tube on the outside. I would have personally liked to drill a hole and just jam that thing through, but it did come out really nice. I don't have a picture of that, unfortunately, but because we just did that the other night and got one B pillar like side, the actual pillar part that's external done, sorted. The other one's like 50% done. We've got the windshield, not spreader bar, but the top bar across the windshield between the two continuous A's done. And really now at this point we're looking at, finishing that other B, and then a lot of the little tube work. He also wants a double A. The second A pillar is an internal A pillar. Mainly, I mean, just A for the extra support that you get from having two A pillars. He originally had an A pillar in the cab, so we're kind of just going to. A lot of it is keeping tube where it was originally, I feel like. So it's like same but different sort of deal, right? It's the original
make
idea
sense.
of the cage is there. Like the tubes that come back are actually kind of faithful to where the original ones were to a point, and then B pillars obviously way different, but the external A's are new, but it's going to have the internal A's, and then he had a bar like internally across the top that he was had grab handles and some other stuff. So we're going to do that. We're going to do like a double A internal external like bar just to keep that sort of feel, and so we can put stuff in the bar, the grab handles, and have all that stuff, but also put it in a better functioning. And I don't know about no, it'll function better. That's stupid. I shouldn't have said that. It'll definitely function better. And it definitely looks. I don't want to say it looks better because before it was very minimal tube, but it'll be present. You'll know that there's tube on it. Whereas before, I feel like I never really looked at the Bronco and was like, yeah, that's got a full cage. It just looked like kickers, like classic '80s style, like tube bed thing. Not really like if I look at a rig and I think, oh, that's got a cage and all that good stuff, like I wouldn't have thought that previously. By the time we're done here, like it'll be apparent that this thing is sort of hybrid caged out.
The only
Fuck
thing
yeah.
I don't like is on the, I'm gonna call it the B side.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're kind of running tubes to nowhere.
Where?
Hang on, I'm trying to pull up the fucking picture again because I have to go back to your damn text message, and there's like 18
Here,
different ones from work in there. So like,
Also in the Discord if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll post it.
Put an admin
Let's
setting.
see.
so the only thing, the B center support, I almost want to see those tubes longer and run down further towards the back just to keep
So-
cohesion.
I can understand why you're saying that, but I disagree for a couple reasons. But
It
I'll let you
looks
continue.
off because they're just deadheading.
They're not
They're
deadheading.
into nothing.
They have a purpose. The chances of you hitting a rock on the continuous A in the back of the bed, very low. And if you do, and it crushes something, sucks. You can cut those, you can slug them,
Yeah.
you can put it back together. What that does is if you take a hit from the front in the top corner of an A pillar, the crossbar
Allows-
tubes that are up there are going to take that load, transfer it back through the A pillars, through that B crossbar, and then down the A pillars again from the middle of the B crossbar up top, where it splits it in two ways to those tubes and then down to the frame. So the load transfer in a realistic scenario where it actually matters is accounted for. And
It is
there's other-
accounted for. It just looks like you're just deadheading tube there.
it doesn't. That's not what's happening. I understand why you would think that, but
I'm
far
looking
as-
at the picture you sent me, boss.
no.
Are you talking about the harness bar area and the B supports? Is that what you're referencing?
No,
right now?
I'm referencing where it comes off of the center of the B pillar at the top in the center of the cage. He's got the tubes running from the center there out to the midpoint on the B with nothing running down, tying them together. My thought on it would just be to run them down so they tied in with the back.
There's just no. It's just not necessary. You could
Are you
turn the
saying
thing
that
into a
adding-
fucking nest, but
Are
it
you-
wouldn't add.
Is he saying
I don't think
run
it would
those
add help.
parallel with the continuous A from the center B? Is that what you're saying, Luke? To just
Yeah, because
it
right
have
now
it
they're
connect
just
down
fucking
bottom?
sitting in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing
no, but
that's.
those will support the C. And then if he has those taper, then do another V that connects them up to where like the A cross piece is, then it is supported, and it's gonna it's gonna push the I don't even know what to call it, force, if you
The
will.
bed cage. If you were to drop a fucking Cherokee on the bed cage and it crushed, like
It doesn't matter.
I wouldn't care.
Yeah,
It's not where no people are back there.
it's intended to just support the A and B, which is where
Yeah.
the people are.
To
I get what
add
you're-
stuff back there has two negative effects for Ryan and just in general. One, it adds weight because you're now just putting tube to support things that don't fucking matter. The second thing is he has storage back there. This is more, I mean, obviously, like, if you can put tubes to not have things not be supported, it's ideal. But there's also, the fact that this is not where a person is sitting. So
I get all of that. I just
there's
think
also a
that it
toolbox.
either-
There's a toolbox back there. Let me finish. Toolbox back there that needs to open. We can't have tubes running around all over the place in there and block access to the toolbox, to a fire extinguisher, to a helmet, to other stuff that he's going to have to use. Now, again, this isn't a person that's back there. You could drop a full-size Cherokee on this and it would crush and it'd be like, oh no, my helmet and my toolbox. Like, I'm going to have to cut the tubes to access them. Like, oh no. But the actual structure of the important part, which is the cab, is unchanged. And you have a lighter rear end because you don't have tube all over the place.
I don't
For
know
this
what that's
rig-
like, and I'm looking at your normal style of doing tube, and that doesn't look like it. So I'm just waiting to see the final product here before I give my final
So
thought.
the tape makes it look like there's not a lot going on. Like I don't even have the B pillar taped, like the actual B support down, taped off and done. I didn't grab a picture. I
Okay,
don't know
if you're
Ryan
doing a
did.
support off of that though, then like
Where?
I'm gonna wait and see. But
From where?
they
What do you
just-
mean?
from the B pillar back, like to those tubes that are just randomly in the middle of the continuous A.
What do you mean? Like the tube that the B upper hoop?
Like on the picture that you sent me, where the
Uh-huh.
tube's deadhead. If there is a support there, I will wait and see. But where they just randomly go into the A looks off to me. That's the only thing that I'm like. I get what you're saying about.
Were they going to the A?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
the
not. At this
continuous
point, he's
A.
talking about the rear space.
Yes, that's the entire thing that I've been talking about. I haven't said anything about anywhere else. That's the only grumblement I have is just those two
Yeah,
deadheaded
and
tubes.
I think go look at 99% of the truggies that are out there, and you'll see the exact same thing or something very similar. The only time you don't see that is Sean's, and I think Sean's cage is like visually very nice, but I look at those tubes, and you could look at those things the wrong way or drop anything on them, and it would just bend. It's like 6 feet of unsupported tube. There's zero structure to it. This
Well,
is
you just said that you're gonna be able to drop a Cherokee on the back of it anyway. It's keeping the
these
vision-
are semi connected in the middle with the B pillar tubes that come off of it in a triangle.
Like I said, I'm gonna wait and see. But right now, it just looks like they're deadheading into the backside of the A to the C support.
because you're looking at it from where are you expecting this to get hit?
I think we're gonna.
It's a flow thing. It's not a. It's not
mean
a
it's a
where
flow
it's
thing?
hitting. It's you've got a big old
the flow.
swoopy.
No. Think
No,
about
yes,
where
yes.
do you fucking smash your Jeep?
I smash my Jeep every fucking where. There isn't a single tube on it that is.
If you were to
fucking-
cut the back half of your Jeep off and dove nose the back end so it had tube coming in, not saying that this is what's happening on the Bronco, I'm just saying if you were to have a Bronco-like body and you had a continuous A pillar that dove nosed in the back, would you hit those tubes in the way that you're describing to me that they are deadheading?
Absolutely, this weekend, fucking, I used every single piece of fucking tube on that thing. There is nothing that doesn't have a fucking dent in it. Like, that's the. So I get what you're saying about it's not structural, but
It's not that it's not structural, it is structural from the directions that matter. If you're smashing that thing against rocks, while your Jeep is upside down, or Bronco in this case is upside down, then you got bigger problems. If you're smashing that thing that hard into rocks that it can't take the load from above, or if it's upside down below, which I don't think that would take the majority of the load to begin with. Not unsupported, at least, unless
Now-
you're in a really odd spot.
and
But from
so
where
I'm
it
gonna-
matters, from my perspective,
Hang on,
if
I'm
you're
about to
smashing
torpedo
shit,
my own argument.
okay,
Alternatively here, though, the person that's saying this is bending quarter wall in my fucking A supports, so it doesn't fucking matter. He clearly can't drive. So maybe you shouldn't end up listening to me about like that particular set of things. I just think it looks aesthetically bad, and it's not, and it's like a complete deadhead into the other tube.
It's not a
where you would-
deadhead.
It
There's
is.
zero. It is not a 90-degree
No, it
deadhead into a tube.
it is an unsupported piece of tube just out in the middle of nowhere, where it's going to ultimately end
Where
up
would you
fucking-
put that? Where would you tie that into the ground?
I would end up
Am I going
running that
straight to the
back-
frame with that? That looks
Yeah.
fucking hideous.
I'd run that thing back to the I guess it would be the C tie-in and just match the bend in there, but that's because I like the fucking swoopy lines.
The
if you're
C
gonna have a-
tie-in. There's
Yeah.
the C tie-in is at the trunk.
Yeah.
It's at the bed. What do you
Yep.
mean the C tie-in? So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
just tie
pull
it
that
in.
all the way forward more? There's no point.
You're not pulling anything forward.
What do you mean? Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're just saying add another one, make an X, and have it drag
No, I'm
down.
not even saying make an X, make a V. So that way it's supporting in the back all the way to the
No,
C
and have it
pillar.
make it look like a fucking pocket pussy in the back of Ryan's Bronco? Absolutely not. I don't like Broncos, but I'd never go that far.
Broncussy. Oh.
I don't know how it would look like a Bronco Ussy. It would look like a V.
No, that would look like a Bronco Uzi. Also, that would cover his fucking gas filler, and to not have those come together. No, I just that wouldn't. I don't know. That's I. And that wouldn't even support it in the way you're complaining it would be a problem.
I'm just
Fuck
saying
off.
it looks
Fuck
like
out
it's
of here.
fucking
Get out of
deadheaded.
here.
No, I'm not
You
gonna
don't know
get out
what
of
you
here.
making Jacob's fucking pocket pussy ladder out of this thing? No. I was
You're the
I
one
was
that's
thinking you were
fucking
trying to
building fucking
No.
bullhorns
I
here.
thought you were trying to tell me to bring it down to the frame like dead
Right,
drop it.
Drop it to
From
the point
there.
where it's even with the
That would be
backside
the
of the
only
bed.
thing that would make any sense. And there's a lot of reasons that I can't do that. And there's no point in doing it because it's not gonna like
Yeah,
if it
so
were to
it just
crush in
looks
that
like
direction.
you're gonna grab it by the fucking horns and ride it like a steer. It's fine.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
I
don't
know that's
you,
what you're
you
going
can
to
talk to Ryan about this, and if he wants to make a Broncussy out of this thing, I'll do it. But I don't think there's any more tube necessary in that back section for his application and for a typical like moderately lightweight. Not that this thing is lightweight at all because
What
it's
the
got
fuck
so much
is
fucking.
lightweight about it? It's fucking all 3A's junkyard plate. The
I know.
fuck
That's
you
why I
mean
said
lightweight?
moderately. I'm
No,
trying
it's
to
not
keep the
moderately.
I'm
It's
trying to
giving
keep
Barry a
my
run for his
additions.
money.
I'm trying to keep my additions purposeful and not just overbuilt because of
Overbuilt is better.
no, not
Yes.
always.
It's gonna smash anyway.
I'm
just
not
have a
saying
little
it's gonna be
extra so it
underbuilt.
won't smash.
I'm not saying it's going to be underbuilt, but I'm not just going to put tube in a place that doesn't need to have tube because it would make your brain feel better about the fact that it needs a Broncussy. Like,
Yeah, it's fine. You can just grab this thing by the horns and ride it. If that's what you want to do, I'm not gonna.
I don't know, just you had me
Fucking-
riled up until you described what you described, and I was like, that doesn't change anything. That doesn't
It
help
just
the
makes it
structure.
flow better.
No,
It's
it doesn't.
literally a flow
It's
issue.
not about adding tube for the flow. It flows fine. The load is transferred into the tube. It transfers down to the fucking C bar
Ryan, when
tube.
you
That
Ram,
goes.
Ram,
into the
shut up.
frame.
It needs to have the right feng shui.
Yes.
It has the right feng shui. Luke's
No,
just
it doesn't.
autistic and wants a
Apparently
Broncussy.
not.
It looks like a pair of retarded bullhorns going backwards.
I mean that you can talk with Ryan and you can change that and you can have him change
Nope.
where that ends.
He'll
I don't
hear this
care.
tomorrow.
That's all on him. We just put a piece of tape there.
He'll hear this tomorrow. He can decide whether he wants the Broncussy or the Bronco.
He's not going to want the
Bull Rider
Broncussy.
edition.
I can tell you because I've stood around this thing for probably a solid 10 to 12 hours looking at this thing. and putting tube on it, and
I
think-
also don't have a solution. I drive a fucking tube cube that fucking clearly is not supported enough because the whole
have you added
thing's
another?
moving.
Have you added a Q-bussy into that fucking thing?
Yes, it's got a Q-bussy somewhere in there. There's all kinds of random shapes. We can just like scan it and find the Q-bussy.
Thank you, Cody.
You're welcome.
Now-
Actually,
Look at
so
those.
technically, this was a counterpoint to both of you guys that, based off of if we go off of these
Yeah, they
are
technically
bombers
don't need it.
specific, they don't even have that.
Yep.
And if we're gonna go, but again, bombers probably tend to.
Well,
change how they do cubes.
that's different because there's tube in other places as well. But I mean, that is a good point to show these pictures because there is. I don't want to say there's a ton of unsupported tube that runs straight back in the swooping
Oh,
motion. But
wait.
again,
We got one for Luke. We got one for Luke.
let's see him.
It
Let's
was on
see
something.
we got a Q-bussy. Ugh. No, and it's even is that a wide open design chassis?
It is a wide open design.
Yeah, I
chassis.
figured. No, those swoops are. I don't know. I don't like those ones.
I know that too bussy from anywhere. Boys.
Yeah, I don't like that too bussy.
Where
I
is said
can
Q-bussy?
respect the swoopies, but I'm sorry,
Swoopy.
the Wumbo two bussy right on that thing is a little I don't know.
Yeah, but that would
Those
look
tubes
better
aren't doing
just
anything.
angled.
They're too big, going nowhere. I'm sure they
I like the
protect
one that
your
Cody
beer
posted
cans,
above
but-
the bottom one. That looks cleaner. Or if you're gonna have another tube in
Are
there,
you just saying
run
no
it to the
tube?
sea.
Just do nothing.
Yes.
Yeah, fuck it.
Just keep
Make
the
it
two
flow.
bars.
Yes, it doesn't flow. It bothers me with the way that it's trying to flow in there. It just doesn't look fucking right. So gusset that shit and maybe run a support off of the fucking right where it's bent down. And call that a fucking day so that way it looks less like it's fucking a random
two
V.
bussy?
Yes. Cuz it's got a random V just going on in
will-
there. And
will
it
say-
bothers my brain.
If we start taking into consideration the fact that I have been looking at multiple, what I would call proper engineer, done by multiple companies, right? So Bomber, Ibex, with
I
continuous
do
A
love
to
the fucking
Cs.
Ibex.
Me too. It's still one of my favorites. They don't do that at all. They don't add that center support whatsoever. So that's interesting that it's countering where I could understand Graham's point, right? It's supporting what he feels would support it for whatever reason, right? But then why do these other well-known chassis with a continuous A to C, why don't they do a spreader there? Interesting.
Well, I mean, because
Because there's probably no
huh.
need.
Huh.
It just
Well, you
it-
can't see on some of these how they have their tubes on the top. I think how you structure your upper tubes also makes a big difference. What was that? I don't know which one this is. It's got the spreader bar. There seems like no. Oh, it's hard to tell because the tubes are all in the way of each other. It doesn't look like it has tubes that go. No, it doesn't. This is just a square roof on this. Which one is this?
It's the first
Right
of
right above the two bussy wide open design. It's got
Oh, yes,
no diagonals between the B center point and the A corners.
Yeah, that is a Bomber.
Yeah, that's the one, the Bomber. Maybe it's just still being built because if the one right above it is also a Bomber, it does
I'm
have
lying.
those.
Hold on, I am lying. This is a Hulse Engineering one. I am mistaken.
Gotcha. And the one above that looks very similar with a couple more frivolous
So-
spins in there. But
on the note of the Ibex too, that Ibex is pissing me off. Just because the
Specifically, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
where the supports for the rear tube right at that bend are, move the B and the harness bar up and back a little bit so that way it all lines up at the particular bend. I feel like that would have been more aesthetically pleasing, but maybe that's just
which
me.
one? What are you saying?
The
Sorry,
bottom
I was looking
picture.
at pictures.
The last picture with the
Oh, the
actual
Ibex.
Ibex. Yeah, just move the B on that back to the center point of the bend so you're supporting everything in there. But What do I know? I don't
Well-
know as much as the
You
Ibex
could just
people.
double B it at that point. Like,
No, there's no point
Yeah.
in double being that. That's just, again, you're taking something every tube needs to have a purpose, right? So, which, if you're saying that goes against my argument that you need those back
I don't know.
two
I'm not a
bussy
cable
halves.
specialist.
But
Um,
my thought with the purpose of those was to give those back tubes some structure because they are long from just immediately caving with no support in any direction, right? At least
They're
if
gonna
they've
cave
got
regardless, though.
okay,
That's the-
whatever. Either way, but the point.
God,
So
Graham.
having done Ryan's the same way, where the bend kicks out further than the B pillar. The reason it does that is because we have it slow, at least on Ryan's. I don't know if Ibex is doing this or what, but ours is slugged right there. The A pillar going from the slider up the cowl, or up to the sides of the cowl, and then up the windshield and back is like a 3-point complex compound bend. And it's subtle, but you that has to be correct. Otherwise, it is very clearly wrong. When you look at it from the front, you can visually see that there's big problems if those aren't even. So that was a hard bend to get right to begin with. I wasn't gonna add in another precise angle bend, even though it was just one. Back to that rear tube. We were initially going to do 2 on the rear. We ultimately changed it to 1, which I think was a good idea. But it would have been to do that in one shot. Kind of sucks. Now on an Ibex, maybe you probably can because looking at the thing, it doesn't.
It's done in a fucking Dragon too. Let's be real here.
That too, but for shipping, how do you ship a fucking tube that's like that? So the argument
With a
stands.
really big box.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You just slug it because it's going to be stronger anyways. So if that's where the slug point is, because you need to have a chunk of, a distance to put a slug in the tube to actually do that, and you can't do that on a bent tube. Unless they bend it with the slug in, which would be all sorts of fucked up and not just crazy. But I guess it's not impossible. That would be my argument for why that is not centered, because if you slug it right there, that's still the strongest point. Your bend, yeah, it hangs off a little bit, but I don't know. You see it so much that I don't look at that as being weird, honestly.
No, it's purely an aesthetics thing. If I'm gonna be doing tube, where
That's
it's
the
out
fucking blue trash can aesthetics.
Yes, I built around a fucking Cherokee, which is not how I want to fucking have anything ever built. It was also the first time I threw tube. I've had a couple of changes in mind in the way that I want to throw tube. But right now, it's not worth going and cutting all of the fucking tube that currently sits in the rig that was built to be structurally sound out. That just sounds like way more effort than going wheeling. I can have opinions that are slightly different than the workpiece when the workpiece has been getting hammered on for the last 7 years and doesn't have a single
Where's your
straight
bender?
structure.
Who's got your bender right now?
Logan.
Okay. When was the last time you bent a piece of tube?
Probably about 2 months ago.
All right. Do you make a
Like-
tube bussy out of it?
No.
Do I need to talk to Morgan about some tube bussy issues? Are you obsessed?
No, I don't think she would even know what's going on. She's more concerned with eating graham crackers and sending you fucking Snapchats of it.
I don't have Snapchat, so I ain't seeing those things.
All right, sending you pictures. I don't know how the fuck she communicates with you. She just randomly told me that she sent you a picture and was like something about fucking eating children. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, she sent me a picture of fucking it was cinnamon toast crunch grams, and I sent an angry emoji, and she asked me why I sent an angry emoji. I said, "You're eating my fucking children." It's almost as bad as eating Teddy Grams.
Just
and then
because of that.
Then she said we had a conversation about cereal, and she said she also liked Golden Grams, which I also didn't
Golden
like
Grams
because
are a W.
they're cannibal
That's a W.
cannibalism. No,
W.
those are gross.
Golden
Could
grams
never-
are good.
those
You
things
can
aren't
be
good.
wrong, just like your fucking 2 bussy take is
No,
wrong.
you're the one who was all fucking fixated on the 2 bussy. I was
Yes,
just
because
trying
it looks
to do
like you're
what.
trying to grab a hold of a fucking steer and ride that motherfucker.
All right, if that's how you feel about the Bronco when it's got all its new tube work on it, I mean, you're gonna have to talk to Ryan before you have a
will
couple
talk to
minutes with
Ryan.
it by itself. But I don't know how he's gonna feel about you feeling up his 2 bussy like that.
So,
You know,
Ram, I thought
Uh-huh.
you guys were going to be throwing more tube on the sides to help protect more of the body panels.
we're not done with
You're
that.
not done.
Not even.
Okay.
We're not done.
Well,
There's
it wasn't.
more to
It
be
wasn't
done.
in the tape, so I wasn't sure.
The blue tape on the side, I kind of like went overboard with that, but there's going to be a tube that runs from where that tape roll is hanging to
So
the
then-
B pillar,
okay.
which does exist. The B pillar down does exist now. I just don't have an updated picture of it.
Okay, gotcha.
We were working on it yesterday, and then it was 9:30 or whatever, and I told him we were calling it. We did a bunch of tubes, so like I wasn't feeling like we needed to stick around and fuck ourselves for the next day.
That thing
Okay,
does look
gotcha.
so small on those tires too.
It's so little. It fits in my shop so nicely too. Fit my tractor in the back of it. I was working on the tractor the other day. Thing runs. I put gas in it and it ran. Didn't give it a single
Oh, I
fuck.
forgot about you and your fucking yard tractor.
Yeah, I got Green Leaf's
bullshittery.
Cub Cadet. And I have a
Y'all are
spare one
filthy.
too. I took that one apart, and I'm halfway. Oh man, it's a whole nother fucking mess. The steering was fucked, so I was like, oh well, the easiest way to change the steering is going to be to just drop the pin on the beam axle that it's got in there, and just take the the equivalent of what would be the drag link off of the pitman arm on a Cherokee on the tractor. So I took I took the nut off of the drag link and took the drag link out, and I took the roll pin out of the slide on the good tractor I-beam, and it just fell out. And then I went to my tractor, like the one that actually runs and has an engine in it, and I was going to do the same thing, except the pin it must be bent in there because the roll pin was in 3 pieces. I have hammered the fuck out of that cross pin for the I-beam, and it has not moved a millimeter. It barely moves. So I'm currently drilling it out. I should have just not. I should have just swapped the fucking spindle ends and everything from the other one and just left it because it's not coming out. There's not a ton of play, but I was just being stubborn and I wanted just to put the piece
You
in because it
stubborn,
was gonna be
never.
simple. It was supposed to be simple and it wasn't. I wasted probably 6 hours on that fucking thing on Monday, and yeah, so it's currently on blocks getting an axle swapped behind the Bronco. So yeah, but it's cool. It runs. It moves. I moved it like a foot back and forth, and then I was like, all right, I need to change the tires and the steering on it so I can drive it around. I want to drive it, and I can't because it now has no axles and no wheels. So yeah, it kind of escalated. Also, it has no steering because I was going to change the steering column out, and as it turns out, the steering column that I had as a spare is not the same as the steering column that was in it. So now I have to probably cobble together the old steering column with parts from the other steering column I have and weld the steering shaft for the wheel back on because I had to cut it because it was like completely rusted in there. There was no way I was going to get the wheel off, which is plastic with like a steel bushing that it goes through off of there without like seriously mangling the wheel, which I didn't want to do either. So now I did get the little stub that was left off the steering shaft out, but I had to cut it off. That wheel is fucking nasty anyway. Something was dead in there. It reeked in like the middle section. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but it needed to come off anyways, so yeah, that's my tractor saga real quick there.
All right, so while we're continuing to have random arguments over nothing, how's the shitbox Cummins?
It's good. So it like I hit a point around like 250 miles, 300 miles, where all of a sudden the dual disc decided to like life and not shift like garbage.
Yeah, they do that.
And now it was like a flip switch. I used to not be able to downshift without like very precisely rev matching the thing, and then all of a sudden it just like was accepting not quite complete rev matches, and it was working well. And it doesn't seem as notchy, I guess. would be
Mine's
the
still
word.
picky and kind
It's
of
not. I mean,
notchy.
it's no AX15 or NV.
No, the fuck it's not.
It's not either of those. Like a J20, I could slam shift. It did not give a single fuck. It'd be like, okay, boss, we'll do whatever you want. And the AX15 doesn't have a choice. It's the synchros are like a car, so it'll just do whatever I want it to do. Until the synchros don't exist.
And mine are fucking not happy, boss. First to second synchro is non-existent anymore.
Well, you can buy a synchro kit and you can rebuild that thing for not a ton of money, and
or
without
I can
any
forget
special
about
tools.
it and just launch it in second, because the second, third synchro works, and the third, fourth, and fourth, fifth synchros are okay. So like,
Well, you got it. You have a fucking Mopar transmission tech, who is like,
but it works.
have him rebuild your transmission.
He
So
can
it works
rebuild the
better.
other one. I have another one sitting there. He can have fun with
There
that
you go.
one.
There you go.
This
Do
one though,
that.
that's in the rig. It's in the rig, and like, I've got an invite to fucking Harlan again in first week of August. I'm not sure if I'm fucking
First
going up
week of
in-
August. It's fucking May.
hang on, I'm getting.
You got
there,
like
you
3
motherfucker.
months. You can rebuild that transmission in a weekend.
July is going to be a busy fucking time because I'm going to be.
Still another month out. You got all June. What are you doing in June?
I'm wheeling the bitch.
Where?
AOP. And
Every
fucking,
weekend?
I don't have every weekend. I have every other weekend.
Oh, every other
So-
weekend?
I'm going to take one weekend off and go and hang out with my mom because she's going to be in town that weekend. So that leaves the other weekend out of that month to go wheeling. And I'd rather just go wheeling. I don't give a flying fuck that the first, second synchro doesn't work right. Oh no, I have to stop the Jeep and put it into first. Okay. Oh no, I have to like not try and like leave the line in first where it tacks out at fucking 7 miles an hour anyway, so I might as well just fucking start in second where it tacks out at 11.
I'm just saying, you could spruce that thing up. I'm not saying that I'm perfect either. Third gear on mine pops out if I sit on rev limiter for too long on a hill.
Third gear on yours pops out and it doesn't have a fucking single happy brake caliper on it.
It's got one probably. It still stops.
And
One.
One,
also,
I think two that are unhappy.
It doesn't pop out a third gear, Graham, when it doesn't hit rev limiter for whatever reason.
No, it's weird. It doesn't do it often, but it has started doing it, and I know exactly when I broke it. I can still like feel the hill that I slam shifted it on, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm excited to open it up at some point and see what's good.
By the way, Richie, I still do have your fucking bell housing. I probably should have given that to you at the meet and beat.
It's
Yeah,
probably-
that,
But it's okay. You took my axle shafts back home with you, so like I don't feel bad.
well,
That's your own
Whoa.
fault.
well, I didn't bring them.
Oh, well then even better. I don't feel bad at all.
You know what? I didn't think about the axle shafts, Luke, until I was in Maryland.
Good thing I didn't need.
It's a little far. Were you talking about his 10.5 axle shafts that he's like obsessed with needing?
Yes.
Yeah, well he doesn't.
I'm
'cause I-
obsessed with needing them. Yes. No, the fucking axle that's been in there for 7 years that I want to just or
Brother,
6 years that I
brother.
just want to fucking swap the shafts
I
out
don't
of
want to hear
because
it.
they're
I have the
bent.
fucking ducky rear axle, and those shafts have never been replaced, and I don't carry spares around. You can't tell me that your axle's got more action than the ducky axle does.
I'm not gonna say it's got more action than the ducky axle. I'm saying that I'm
That thing
trying
has
to
seen
show
some
up
shit.
I'm trying to show up at fucking parks with a little bit more fucking spares, so that way it's less
Just
of a
weld
big
it.
deal.
Just weld it together. It'll be fine.
I'm not even gonna entertain you. You're just being obtuse. Fucking, I don't see the problem with wanting to show up with like a set of spare 60 shafts that are okay, and a set of spare 10.5 shafts that
you
are
don't need
okay.
a pair of spare 60 shafts if you got 1550s.
I don't have 1550s. I got 1480s because I built my fucking axle in fucking 2018, and I traded an anti-rock that was sitting in my shop for him. Like, I didn't give a flying fuck what it was, and now I'm dealing with the problems of that. But it's multiple years later, and the axle is still under there. It's just a lot thinner than it used to be in the fucking center.
Slimming.
It's rapidly losing weight on the ground down on rocks fucking diet.
Give her the
When I
old Chris
put-
Welch diet.
Eventually, but like it hasn't popped a hole through the bottom yet, so I'm gonna just go keep fucking wheeling it.
That's a good point. That would be a good time to like sit down and say, "Hey, it's time to take a lot of inches off you."
Yeah, like at that point in time when I put the hole in it, that's the problem. But right now, like the Moto-Built diff cover is finally starting to get even with the front of the axle housing again. It was overhanging by like a good quarter, maybe 3/8 of an inch, and it's finally like ground itself down. I'm proud of it. It'll eventually be an okay axle. That just probably not while I own it, but whatever. Fuck it.
It'll be fine.
You can put some
Right.
you can put some spendy axle shafts in there and some
It's got middle of the road axle shafts in there. I'm not putting spendy axle shafts in there until I break the middle of the road axle shafts.
Brannick 300M.
I'm not putting Brannick 300Ms in there. If I'm gonna do anything like fancy boy like that, I'm just going with the direct drive spider track shit.
All right. I don't know if I don't know about. I mean, I'm sure Spider Track shit's strong. It's like all the Ultra 4 shit. I just don't
Yeah.
know.
It slides in there. You put it. You can buy the what is it? Revolution 1480 or the Spider Tracks 1480, and then like the inner becomes the problem. And at that point, if you really want to go crazy with it, that's when you go and you put the 40 spline inners in it. But it really doesn't fucking matter that much. So I'm just going to leave the 35 spline shit in there and see when the fucking break point is on that. Right now, we know that the front drive shaft is weaker than it. So that's okay. It can stay like that.
Do you think it's because it's not properly supported? Is its feng shui out of whack?
Its feng shui is way out of whack. Yeah, the 241 just threw its feng shui out of whack, and then after I cut the nose off of it, it's been very angry, and it keeps trying to take a bite out of every boat motor it sees. It doesn't like Hayes's rig. It doesn't like Bronco-ish's rig. It just wants to go chasing them up the fucking mountain. Something about boat motors. I don't fucking know. But like if it's following the Bronco around, it doesn't give a flying fuck. It goes everywhere that it's supposed to. If it's chasing something else, it's less interested in the chase.
Hmm.
It just hates boat motors.
It just ejects itself at them?
It just fucking randomly throws itself at them. Yeah, it's great. It ran through lines then in 5, maybe 10 minutes. I don't fucking know. It was retardedly short, and it was just a continuous like drag one side of the body, then drag the other side of the body, and then drag the fucking underside, and you're through. And I'm good with it. I'm excited to go to fucking Golden Mountain. I might see what they're doing for the weekend that I will be off in June. Because I'm off the 22nd, 23rd, but everyone's going to Harlan again. I think it's the 27th and 28th, which really grinds my gears. Because I would like to go, but I also don't want to blow a week of vacation to go back to Harlan when I was just at Harlan.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Understandable.
When's the club weekend?
I don't know.
I was-
July 17th, I think. 18th.
I was just looking at that too. God damn you.
You don't have an answer
Sweet.
for us?
Because I still got to book a flight up there for that. Sorry, Ryan. I'm probably not going to drag the Jeep up there. It's probably going to be cheaper for me to just fly up there for the weekend, go to the club weekend, and then go back because I think I'm going to Harlan Crawl shit, which is like 2 weeks later. And then after that, I'm going to Golden Mountain with the New England boys. So
The
forget.
club weekend is
The New
July
England
18th
boys.
through the July 20th.
Okay.
You going to Golden Mountain?
I think some people from fucking several of the New England clubs have their own little thing going where they're going down to like AOP for a day, Harlan for a day, and Golden Mountain for a day. So I'm probably gonna meet up with them and go to AOP and Golden Mountain.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
really
fun.
see the point in trying to go to like Harlan or do that whole fucking loop in a weekend.
Mhm.
That's a lot of fucking driving. And I'm being lazy. Especially
Yeah.
because the following weekend to that's going to be Web Wheelers. So, yeah. It's going to be
Yeah,
a
you already
busy
got some
July and
driving
August.
going on.
Yeah. I got a lot of driving going on. I also have to... fuck. I really hope I get that fucking trailer situation figured out. It's still fucked. Should have never let them fucking touch that. It was literally in better shape before it fucking pulled in there.
Oof.
Oh well. Anyways, I feel like we're starting to devolve. Cody, what have you been
Nah,
up to, bud?
just saving money, stacking parts. Nothing crazy.
Understandable.
all.
Have a nice day. I've
Who left?
Hi,
Richie.
Richie.
What was the timing on that? That was
The
crazy.
timing was crazy.
What just
I was like,
happened?
holy... You dropped
Almost
You
looked
At-
dropped
fucking-
right
at
after
a
I said
like very
understandable. Have a
comedic
nice
timing point. Yeah.
Oh.
day.
It just the computer just was like, okay, it's night time.
Speaking of night time, dude, fuck sleeping in the Cummins front seats. I hadn't set up camp because we were there for like 15 fucking minutes, and we got in at 5:45 in the fucking morning. There
I
was
don't know,
no
man.
desire.
You just recline that thing back when you're real tired at 3 a.m.
Yeah, when you're real
You'll
tired,
you'll just
real drunk.
fall right asleep. I can't
I
say I
wasn't
got the same problem.
I wasn't real drunk that entire endeavor. I was borderlining on buzzed at a couple of points through there, but I kind of tried to keep it like pretty fucking reasonable because of the amount of fucking distance we covered.
I'm not saying while drunk. I wasn't. Every time I've done it, I don't think I've been drunk. Just tired. Nice.
It fucked
Yours
my
are
back up.
cloth. It'd probably be even better.
No, it wasn't. My fucking back was still mad at me from that. The stupid one-person tent I have is way more comfortable than sleeping in the Cummins bench seat.
I'm not gonna say it's the most comfortable thing, but it's something.
I wouldn't even go moderately.
Is yours electric?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. So you can just get it
In
all
theory.
reclined back.
In theory, yeah, it's great, except it just the cushion on the seat is so fucking worn out
Oh, yeah.
that
Oh,
like
yeah.
it just drops you down so you have this awkward hump for your back to wrap around.
I've been debating
I-
doing the cushion replacement. They have a bunch, and then my leather is on the driver's seat especially is getting smoked, and it's not even the right color. Like something is odd going on with that driver's seat. It's like it's been repaired. I think RJ was the one who mentioned it. He was like, they probably changed those two panels. And I was like, oh no shit, you're not wrong. That they could have just put different pieces in there. Because it wasn't like in any of the embroidery or any like the weird shit that's on there, which is kind of cool, but like if I were to replace it, it would look better. But yeah, and the foam too. Foam could use some. Not as bad as the J20. That thing is fucking horrendous, but
Well,
But
so
it's not back to the daily anymore, is it?
what?
Is the Cummins
J20?
now your daily?
Yeah, I've been driving it every day. The J20 has a couch in it. I was trying to get rid of that today, and they told me I couldn't because if I put my wheels on the scale, they were going to charge me $180, and I was not about to pay $180 to get rid of a couch. So,
That's fucking wild,
It's almost
man.
like I told you. All you need to do is let me
Yeah.
know a fucking date, and I can.
Okay, well, we'll plan something. I got a wedding to go to this weekend, but let's. What do you? What time? What day do you need? Do you want? I know we don't need to plan this over the podcast, but I'll just just the sooner the better. Okay. I got a couch and like one cardboard box. Needs to go.
That's easy. Cardboard I could get rid of for free.
Yeah. I mean, I could just throw it in any dumpster and that'd be fine. But yeah, the couch, I can't do that too. I need to bring it to the dump. And apparently, unless I'm a resident of West Springfield, I'm not allowed to drive to the dump to drop off my shit. God forbid I make their jobs easier.
They have
Stupid.
a minimum cost that you have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's almost like I told you this, but it's fine.
Why is it so hard to get
Graham
rid of trash
doesn't
out
want to
here?
listen. He's more.
It's like the fucking Goonies. And it was easier to get rid of my trash in like the uppity like beach town than it is here. It's fucking absurd. I used to just drive in, no fucking sticker, no nothing, and you just pull up to you just acted like you were supposed to be there. You just pulled up to the Crushinator, you dumped all your shit in the Crushinator, and then you drove out. You didn't get on the scale, you didn't do nothing. And they didn't say shit, and I got rid of all my stuff. And I threw a lot of fucked up shit in that dumpster, or in that Crushinator. Engines, transmissions, tons of shit. And it didn't pay a dime. But out here it's like, oh no, you have a mattress. What are we going to do with it? You have to pay money and bring it to a special place. Couches? No, we can't take them. You're not a resident. Should have just fucking driven on it.
I just really want to point out that you've had this discussion multiple times on the podcast.
Have I?
Yeah, though this is like every 2 episodes, Graham talks about his hatred for the dumps in his town.
I don't remember that.
I've been trying to get rid of this couch for a hot minute. I'm not gonna lie, but
it's every time Graham.
It's been sitting in the back of the J20 for a hot minute.
Every time Graham talks about going to a dump to get rid of something and it costing money, you then, Cody, will say something about, I told you so, but you didn't want to listen to me.
Yes,
I'm just trying to be independent and strong and get rid of my trash myself because I have 2 trucks, 2 pick-em-up trucks that I can fill to the brim with garbage, and I'm just not used to not being able to throw it away. And I wouldn't have expected, of all places, Western Mass to be the trash fucking Nazis.
Have you considered just throwing it in a 7-Eleven dumpster and leaving?
It's a couch. I'd need at least one other friend to put it in a 7-Eleven dumpster.
You don't have.
I could be like all the other
fucking.
Throw it
out for $20 through me.
Okay,
Why?
I'll do that. But like, not condoning littering, but I understand why there's fucking shitloads of trash bags off the side of the highway around here. Is because it's impossible to fucking get rid of your garbage. I hate when they make it difficult to get rid of shit.
There's fucking 4 mattresses on the side of my road.
Yeah, like it's just fucking the mattress. I don't know about Connecticut, but in Massachusetts, it's like all fucked up. If you want to throw anything away in this state, like it just sucks. Like, and that's why people. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Jump through like 8 hurdles and 3 rings of fire to actually throw away your stuff? Like, you can't make it difficult. Otherwise, people are just gonna say "fuck this" and dump it on the side of the highway.
And this is where you mock your politicians.
Yeah, it's absolutely retarded.
Mock your local politician?
Yes. Or tickle them. I don't give a fuck.
Just stupid.
I'm not tickling my local politician. That's weird even for me.
Our definitions of tickle mean something else.
Anyways, moving on.
Moving on. On the note of that, I had some dude hit me up today out of the blue, asking me about my stepmom because he found out that she was Jamaican, and it was the coolest fucking conversation. Now we're talking about fucking Wheeling Johnson Valley and the proper way to cook chicken.
He's Jamaican?
Yeah, and so's my stepmom.
I'm so confused.
I thought she was just black.
No, she's Jamaican.
Fuck,
Don't
that makes
ever-
so much more sense.
Woof.
Oh, fucking Christ.
Yeah, she's Jamaican and she's British.
Well, I knew that
God.
part.
She can cook like a son of a bitch. She spent time in Texas and New York City, so you never know whether you're gonna get like a fried steak or like a homemade
Fried
bagel.
steak.
It's
Boys,
the
how-
weirdest thing.
What is this conversation?
This is the blue collar off road tangent session, and talking with. Let me pull up the dude's Instagram name because he was cool as shit. Patrick. What is his Instagram name before I go shouting out his fucking name? Patman13 is his Instagram name, but he just randomly hit me up and started asking me about my stepmom and what I thought of wheeling in the South versus wheeling in Texas and California. It was cool.
Wait,
You
He-
haven't
he
wheeled in
just-
California.
I haven't wheeled in California, but I've
You have
wheeled in
wheeled
Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And-
more curious about how he just messaged you about your stepmom first.
Because we ended up talking about it with the, I think it was Prater, or the last Prater episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We were
Yeah, the
making
one
it
you weren't present for because you were out working like a
Yeah.
loser.
fucking lame.
Hey,
Anyways,
I watched a lot of TV.
understandable. And also understandable is hitting up Crawler Off-Road. BCOP 10 gets you 10% off at checkout. And go check out Joey Urban. Dude's cool. He gets off-road parts. He pisses off Nick Jonard. What more do you want?
Please dispose of your mattresses and couches responsibly.
No. Fire.
That
Fire
that's
cleanses
more
all.
responsible.
If that's
It's better-
if that's how you want to do it. I've asked my local fire pit provider if I could do that
He
both
was not
times.
happy.
Been told no. So unfortunately,
Bring-
I have to do it.
bring
I
it
have
down
do
to
the
me,
correct
Graham.
way. You
Bring
want
it
my-
down to me.
Okay. Well, that might be a little far. It's probably cheaper, especially with the J20, to just throw it out with Cody. But
Yes, yes.
I
Just let
have
me know.
I have cleaned up so many mattresses from the side of my road.
you just burn them.
Yeah. I'm not taking them to a fucking dump. That's way too much work.
The mattress stealer. He pays to have them recycled.
I don't steal them. I clean up other people's trash. I am a warrior for the
you're-
environment.
Yeah, you're a superhero. You're the hero we
Oh.
need. I wish I knew about you when I was getting rid of mine. I would have just dropped it off at your house.
He offered.
Anyways,
We have devolved incredibly
Yeah,
far. At this
I was
point,
thinking the same thing.
on that note, as far as tires go, it doesn't matter. Just get a fucking decent sticky. That doesn't include red
Just get a
labels.
red
fucked,
label.
Graham.
No, just get a
Um,
cheap ass red label. You'll have way more fun than buying a fucking poser tire or a Lord's tire or whatever the fuck they're calling it these days.
Well,
over
Don't
most
listen to the
most
guy
red,
that hasn't wheeled in the
butt
last
cheek
year.
kingdom.
It doesn't
most
matter
red
what he has to say.
labels. No, most red labels have more tread than you do, Graham. So shut the fuck up.
Dude, you just had Richie fucking dogpile you. That ain't fucking good.
Richie's still open, okay?
No,
He's not
I'm not.
open. He's
I
locked
know,
front
I'm
and rear.
kidding.
Yeah,
I
this
know,
is-
I know. It's the ongoing joke I make every time I talk about his rig. I know. Fuck.
Cody,
Anyways,
Don't you have like a
guys
bent
very
leaf
much for
spring?
listening. Please go check us out on Instagram over at the Blue
I'm
Collar
leaving.
Off-Road Podcast. Please feel free if you're interested in joining the Discord and get connected with other people who are into off-roading and all this kind of devolved bullshit. Feel free to hit us up.
You can look at Ryan's. You can look at Ryan's cage.
Yes,
you can.
yes.
You can.
Well, they can't see
tell
that,
me
but we
about
can-
how it looks like it's Broncussy or whatever.
Graham, you didn't post that in the right section for them to look at.
There.
Oh, oops. Well,
You can fix
It's-
that, Graham.
yeah, I
We
can.
have
I'll
faith
post
in
them in
you.
the right ones.
Anyways, on that note, have a good night, everyone. And if you're sitting on the fence about going and doing the stupid thing with your friends, go do the stupid thing with your friends. I haven't had this much fun with fucking wheeling in the last 2 years. Web Wheelers Ball 23 was the last time I felt the type of vibe that I had, and it was just a random fucking invite that I just said, fuck it, I'm going. And that's how it went. So just go do the random thing. If you end up in jail, it's a funny story. If you end up having a good time wheeling, it's a good fucking story.